Hey guys, how's it going? It is July 30th, 2018, and we're going to continue where we left off, believe it or not. Only until I get to a point where I have to get into coding. Once I get into coding and decide what the hell I'm going to do, I probably will be quiet. I'll probably be silent for some time, actually, on YouTube. At least that's the plan. Now tonight was really weird. But I was, well, I mean, I didn't have as much sleep as I would normally have last night, and it was it was okay. I mean, obviously it wasn't enough, or at least it was to the point, if you're really bored, you start falling asleep. And that started happening much earlier this evening. Now most of my night's already gone, which is crazy. So we'll see how this wakes me up. But oh yeah, let me get the chat in here. Why not? So it took me a little bit of time offline, not too much actually, but I was able to finally figure out where the hell OPSIG went to. It has been probably several years, probably before Run 8 that I was into it, at least that I think. On my channel here for a second. I should get to it. I'm already on my channel. Okay, well where the hell am I? I am streaming, am I not? Hello? I am streaming, am I not? Hello. Now this volume's low too, I think. Fix that real. Give me a second, guys. I'll make it worth it. I promise. Well, I don't promise anything. Jesus, Murphy. It's a good weekend, actually. Okay, I bet you can hear me now. I don't know why I can't apply it. I don't know why I can't save it. I just have some programs that do this. Don't know which ones because it just seems to randomly want to do that. Now, let's try my channel again and get myself to the chat so I can begin. And I do plan on doing a little bit of something tonight. I'll tell you, for me personally, going up, there we go. And one's already watching. Wow. Apply it, I don't know why. Okay. Let's go into the chat. And we'll pop that out. I don't want to get rid of this yet, because I want to talk about this. God, I hate that white background. But that's okay. And we'll go here, something like that. So, a couple things. My son, there was a time, this is what was really, really strange about this weekend. It was cool, and then it was strange. I can't even remember. We finished off watching a bunch of wrestling on Friday, I'm pretty sure. Or did we? According to the dates that I got, 27. According to the dates that I have, we did this on the Friday. I didn't remember doing it on the Friday, but apparently, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, that's right. We did a live stream together. Actually, it was kind of weird because my son wanted to do it again on Sunday, and I guess our weekend was so busy or whatever, or involved with different things, that I totally forgot that I had done it on Friday. And by the time I did this tonight, I thought to myself, wait a minute, I did this last on Friday and it's Monday, and I'm back into it again. Like, what the hell's going on? That is a little strange for me. But I can tell right now, both my son and myself are getting bored of the two recent programs that at first I was excited about, and now I'm just like, oh, it's putting me to sleep. And I'm not saying it's not a knock against the program, it's just now it's becoming repetitive, and it's actually becoming too easy. Well, one's becoming too easy, and the other one just isn't involved enough. And the two programs that I was using that I thought would keep me from being bored was the Barrett C. We played that a little bit, and we were both getting bored. I was just like, okay, forget this. And I remember playing the other night too when I was tired, and it was just like, no, it's so calming and soothing, and you're riding along the water, and it's just like, forget it. I got this high-tech boat now, and it takes a while to get out there, but once you get it, you fill up the net like in one shot, and then you go back to the port and you dump all your loads, and then you go back out again. And it's just like, oh my god, that is redundant. It's a cool game, don't get me wrong. I can see after a while. Probably that was, what was it? That was like $21 that game. I've had it for a little while, but I'm starting to see why certain people get a little bit tired of it. The other one is that 0.5 alpha that I bought for peanuts. I haven't got back into it again because honestly, at this point, I mean, yeah, it's involved, and that's kind of the opposite of the relaxing part. That one, it's more involved, and that was just like, whoa. Oddly enough, another thing caught my attention, I think last night, is a colleague of mine that I knew from previous model railroad clubs. He's developed Niagara for trains. And I looked at it and I was like, ooh. That was the first time I saw a trains route that I almost was tempted to do something about it. I was just like, no, I can't do this. I've been in trains before. I actually own it somewhere. It looked pretty cool. And I was just like, no. And it's a perfect example of how eye candy doesn't necessarily mean jack. So anyways, we're going to get to something detailed here in a second. I just have to get myself organized. But my son wanted to do this on Sunday. So what happened? Okay, so Friday, I told you about the wrestling. I think Saturday, was it Saturday morning we finished off on that or something like that. And then he had karate, and he injured himself. That was interesting. So he injured himself. I don't know how he's doing. He seemed to be doing a little bit better come Sunday evening before I dropped him off. But yeah, Sunday he was a little emotional about halfway through summer emotions that kids get. I got it when I was his age too. So suddenly he just wants to get on a trip. We got a long weekend next weekend, and he wants to go someplace. And I just checked all the motels, and they are all booked. Whether it be Poughkeepsie, New York was one of the ones that first came to mind, but then I was thinking of Perry Sound. Everything's booked, and I don't know what the hell the States is all booked for, and they're more expensive than Canada, which is really weird. I don't know what it is Poughkeepsie, but most of the places there are pretty damn expensive. I'm like, what? Either that or the exchange rate is really screwed up right now, and we're paying. It's not a good time to go to the States or something. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm gonna have to break the news to him tomorrow. We ain't doing that. And he really wants to go. He wants to go to a trip, and I told him. I said, we got stuff planned for October and November. Why is it that all of a sudden we have to go? And originally he wanted to go Labor Day weekend, and I said no. I said, well, that's fine. I says, well, we got to figure out what the hell we want to do August. And then originally he said August to do day trips, which was great. I said, yeah, we can do day trips this coming weekend. That'd be great. And then I found out that because his grandma's all, she's recovering from broken wrist or something like that. She can't drive, and she's basically. They haven't been able to go away. Him and his mom haven't been able to go away this summer, but they want to go away on Labor Day. So I gotta negotiate that down, because I'm like, okay, you want to go away on Labor Day? Well, guess what? I can't book anything for August, so I don't know when my son's gonna be going. So he's not gonna be too pleased. So, but man, we went exploring up to London, Ontario. Checked out some of the other sites. Actually, one of my newest subscribers is a gentleman up there that by the name of Walter that I've heard of. I probably met at one point or another, and I don't know if he's maybe watching what I do, but oh wow, we stopped in places that I have never stopped before for many years. I think we stopped there. My friend Paul Duncan at Niagara Rails, he said yes, we have stopped there at least once. I just don't remember. I know I've stopped at Copetown West on the Dundas sub, and this is outside of Hamilton. But usually when I go through Southwest Ontario, I generally don't stop, because if you're ever on the 401 between Windsor or Detroit and you're heading up towards Fostoria, you pass through these places, and usually the 401 is a little ways away from it. Not too bad, but it's a little way. You really aren't near the railway tracks that much, except through Brantford on the 403 to get there. But once you're on the 401, it's some of the most boringest drives I can imagine in this area. It's about as boring as the prairie provinces would be, I would imagine. Maybe not that boring, but very damn close. And usually I'm just driving. I'm trying to get there it takes 3 hours to get out to Windsor, Detroit area from here. So I'm usually not stopping at these communities or going to find these communities that are 15-20 minutes off the highway. Well, this time I did. And the reason why I did it was like the rail lines don't follow the highway line here. It's off on a little bit of a variance. One goes north of Toronto, the others go south. So we stopped at places like Woodstock and Ingersoll. Normally I don't stop. If I stop at Woodstock, it's usually for the service station and the service center where I'd eat, and that's it. Use the washroom and just head back out. And even Woodstock sometimes is a little too close. Woodstock's not too bad away. It's just a little over an hour away from me now. And so yeah, we got another place that's nearby we're finding a lot of good day trip locations this year. And afternoons kind of like lulls, but once the evening picks up, boy, it's interesting. So he had fun, and then I wanted to do it again. It was just like on Sunday I said, I wasn't saying about that, I was saying let's go north of Toronto and stuff like that. And then he started complaining about his, and then you could tell he was upset. His stuff was bothering him about he really wants to go on a trip, and I tease him a lot, but I wasn't going to tease him at this point because I knew it was just like, no, he really is not too happy about having basically done not much, in his opinion, this summer. So he can't go anywhere. He doesn't really have transportation, and his mom's really not at this level yet to let him have his freedom. And boy, when I was his age, I was all over the damn city. I think I was riding my bike outside of the city by then. But I guess it's a different age now or something, where people are afraid of the boogeymans a little bit more. So I don't know. Anyways, let's get to the details here. This is what you're here for, not talk. Well, I just like talking about it. And man, I've been sleeping so much now. I don't know. I'm over that buzz with sleep. I'm like kind of dozed, and I just woke up like 20 minutes ago, and I've been off and on sleeping since supper. Like, not too good. But then I was looking at this, so yeah, boy, it was about an hour ago I woke up. So this, if you've never heard of it, for operations, I haven't been here. It seems to me it has to be prior to Run 8, but I'm pretty sure I've been here since, because at some point I probably looked at it for RTS. I probably, you know, I've certainly had exposure to it, but I don't know if I really did it. I certainly looked at it at Freight Yard Manager, and this is what they call the Operation Special Interest Groups, or OPSIG. And it took me a while to find it because I thought it used to be on the Yahoo groups, but apparently it's on its website now, and I don't know why. I thought it was in the Yahoo groups, but and then there's the other IO group or whatever. Everybody's ditching Yahoo groups and going for IO because it's a little bit cleaner and stuff like this. So for data purposes, you know, you want to have something. Now they have some Excels. I think they've been doing I think the last time I was here they were trying to divide this off in Excel, so they've been probably doing this for some time. I don't know how updated it is. It doesn't really matter to me. All I want to do is get some data into I want to get some data into not only my spreadsheet, but to be able to use this as base data so that I can call up some stuff. I think I've already downloaded it, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but let's find out. I know it's here. Yeah, my son at one point on Sunday, I said, so what the hell are we going to do? Watch YouTube all day? I was like, you know, and then I asked him what he wanted to do. And one of the things, because he didn't want to sit up, and I said, well, you can't go to your computer. You need to stretch out on the, because, you know, you needed to stretch out on the bed. Anytime he sat down, it hurt. Whereas the other day it didn't do so. It was like, whatever. But, okay. That's the OPSIG Industries database. But that looks like a West text. That's not the same one. Okay, no, I don't want that. Well, I did something with it. So where the hell did I put it? Oh, I guess I just put it in a text file. Oh, this is going to be interesting. There's a lot of records here, but this could get nasty. It's not the greatest format, but hopefully I'm able to get this in here. Oh man, here, no, let's do it the right way here. So this is a database of known industries throughout history, I guess throughout history. Oh crap. Don't tell me I can't. Are you kidding? Oh, that is horrible. Can I not highlight this whole damn thing and just I'm not used to his computer. Oh, that sucks. I can't go home with it. I want to download that. I don't want to I mean, that's nice and all, but okay, hang on a second here. Oh, that's a link. Yeah, I want to save that as a file. So that's what I'll do. Okay. Yeah, we know it's saved. So I'm going to. I would prefer to massage the data myself. So it's broken down into regions. Yeah, okay, we know, okay. I imagine it's broken down to regions because of file limitations or something. I have no idea. But Okay. So, what do we got? We got, I don't know what the hell to call this thing. I'll call that the test area. I'm going to call this the OPSIG. Now eventually what I'll do, of course, the thing is, it's going to be data. I'm going to use the OPSIG standard, or at least I'm going to try. And the reason why is I want to keep everything universal and then decide what I want to do with it. I think they go by commodities as opposed to car types, which kind of differs the way I want to do it, but there's probably a way to make it match. I just have to play around with formulas, massage the data. I'm still working on the I know I was still working on the area. Oh, the averages. Yeah, that's right. But we'll deal with that later. That's at least a start. I know where I want to go with that. That's cool. And this data massaging and trying to get the formulas the way I want them before I start writing any code is important, because, and this isn't anything special what I'm doing right now. The one thing, you know, well, let's see here. Let me see if I can import it. Upload. This is gonna get interesting. I think I've done this a million times too. Okay. No, I don't want to create a new sheet. I think I'll append to the current sheet. I'll detect it automatically, convert text to numbers and dates. Convert text to numbers and dates? Okay. Well, I think it worked. At least as good as I want it to. Oh, that's why. See, there's 10,000 records here. So I'm going to import some more. We'll see how much I can import here. So I'm going to append to the current sheet, detect automatically, convert. So we'll import some more data. This thing might become very slow. This is why it's separated. So we're up to 23,000 records. I don't know what the what do you call it? I don't know what the limit is on that. And I kind of figured it might get this big, which is a little scary. Not all of them are going to be applicable for the era. Some of them you may not know, some you may know. Really, it doesn't matter to me. And there was a time where I was, and honestly, I made what they call in model railroading is proto-lancing. I just may do that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens and where I want to get this going. Upload another one. Yeah, this file's going to get freaking huge. So append it. detect automatically. Now the whole thing about why you don't see information, and I know I bitch and complain about it all the time. I guess it's one thing. I feel the same way. In fact, I was playing games on, what was it, I feel like I was running the one night, and I just didn't live stream. In fact, I was doing that. I was playing this earlier, and I wasn't live streaming. I was just like, no, I'm not going to. There we go. Hopefully I've been pending it. Okay, that should be all of it. If it all fits. But at least it's downloaded now. I don't know when they update these things. I don't even know if they update these anymore, to be honest. So, yeah, we've got... Holy crap. But at least now I can get through it and I can massage the data, do whatever I want, and... yeah, that's a lot of records. Now, so we got 43,364 records. Like I said, that's a lot. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, oh wow. That's crazy. It'll be interesting to see how this... oh, okay. So I do want to insert some fields based on... just to remind me what the hell it is, and then I'll figure it out afterwards. So this is... I guess we'll call this the era, the industry name. I'll put a state. SR for shipper receiver. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not too sure why there's a space here, but I'll put commodity 1 and commodity 2. I'm not 100% sure what that is either. I would say type, but I'm not sure. Now I see stuff here. It's just like, that looks like 2 types actually. I don't know what the 2000 home building supplies 2000. I don't know what the hell that is. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these numbers are just like, what the hell is that? And then some are, you know, just kind of whatever. Whoops. I want to do end. Does it actually go that far? It doesn't go to the next tab, does it? It's supposed to automatically detect. So far it looks like it is. And some of these things, I don't even know what the hell that means. Like autos, I know. See, now you got into, now you're getting into numbers. Coal, and then there's a 1 there. I don't know what that means. And I've been here before. I know I've been here before trying to guess what exactly everything is and how to use it. But at least it's data. At least it's something. And then from there, I can become like, you know, what the hell? Why does it go with numbers right there? Columbia boiler. Industrial boilers. Not too sure if they ship or receive. Yeah, this is the tricky science, or the tricky part of the hobby. So what happens is you can get, let's just call it that for now. I'm gonna go with, I don't even know if I want to go with type 1. I'm gonna call it subtype and type. I want to go with the filter for a minute. I don't want to create a new filter. I want to create a filter. Alright. Okay, this is going to get bumpy. So I'll clear that. I just want to go to my neck of the woods in Ontario and see what I can filter down. Yeah. For example, Niagara Falls I'm familiar with. Lubrizol shut down. Grief Containers, I don't even know where the hell that is. That must be the name or something. I think with a star it's a model railroad, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So Lubrizol, I'm familiar where that is in Niagara Falls. Ship lube oil, petrol products. Okay. Carborundum's another one. They've been gone. I think they're still around or something. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Shredded wheat doesn't have rail service anymore. In fact, the main line's not even there. Ship cereal. National Grocers. Cyanamide's gone. So it doesn't have every industry, but it has some, and then some of the ones it has is gone, and some of the ones that are here now and they don't. So it really gets. This is the part where it becomes too anal for me, and then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, well, wait a minute. I've got a lot of data here, and I can go on it, Especially the further I go out, I really have no freaking clue. Like St. Catharines, just got one. It receives tomato products. I have no idea what the number is, but this is gonna be tough. Well, so here's the dilemma that I have with this. I just want to get to it. Honestly, I'm at the point right now where I just want to get to it. But now I'm in a dilemma where I've got too much information, or information overload, and then it's just like, okay, what I might be able to do is proto-lance the hell out of this thing. Or I might be able to even generate a proto-lance industry list. It's just how would I say that? Let me just see this here for a second. Want to make sure I'm pardon me. I want to make sure that I've got the, wow, I'm losing my voice here. J, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, so there is 10 columns. What the hell? 2 characters with the province. If model railroad follow with star, well, that's interesting. Where more than one railroad serves the town, and we do not know which serves the plant. All or several are shown prefixed by star. Okay, I gotcha. Our assumption is that the industry is open to reciprocal switching. Short lines are listed with their class 1 connections in parentheses. Okay, dokie. Predominant type of shipment is ship and receive. Blank means either ships or receives, not sure whether S or R. We assume inputs received may be inferred from the product preceded. For example, paper mills receive pulpwood, chemicals, wood pulp, fuel, kaolin, etc. The file input-output provides suggestions. Commodity, principal product. Yeah, see this, that I don't know what the hell that is. STC, commodity grouping code if available. Oh, okay. So that's the person who put the data in. Where shown, yes means open to reciprocal switching, no means, I didn't see that. So there's a commodity code in 8. And then where shown yes means open to reciprocal switching, no means to open. So ugh. So I'm gonna put commodity. I'll change that over to commodity code. I'll change that to reciprocal switching. I gotta put the filter back on. That's why I had to do that. Okay, I took it all out, right? Yes. Corn syrup, candy manufacturer. This I don't understand. HLE. 37. Okay, so there's some commodity codes like 40-211-56. You know, I never thought of HS codes. Oh, that would be sweet, wouldn't it? Except they don't look like... wait a minute, yes they do. Sort of. But not quite, no. The HS codes are a little bit different. That's WTO HS codes. I use them at work, actually, all the time. And that's for importing and exporting. Those don't look like HS codes. I don't know what that particular numbering system is. Well, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Not like that. It's got four. It's like a number dot number dot number dot number. The first two are the WTO, or the World Trade Organization numbers, and then there's subgroups for the particular country. Now, granted, it would really be nice to see that in the WTO HS codes, because then you could look up what the government classifies it, or sorry, the World Trade Organization classifies it as you can really break down commodities that way. I'll show you what I mean. So I do this at work all the time now. I forget what it is. Here it is. So, shoot, 8438.90. Bingo. Okay, let me get that out of there for a minute. So what this is for the United States, actually, and I use this all the time because what happens is we import from the United States. I said 8438-90, for example. Well, parts for machine basically vegetable processing machinery. So you can see this is coming into play, and the various duty rates and the various special tariffs and all kinds of other things like that. But this is WTO. Yeah, see, yeah, and it tells you over here. So, which I don't want. I don't want the chapter. I don't want the tips. I don't want any of that crap. I just want to view it. Okay, so it has. Okay, so you can zoom in. You can scroll through the whole thing. It starts with the 84. Okay, it starts with the 8401. Like, you got nuclear reactors. You name it. Anything you can think of has an HS commodity code to it. I don't have to memorize these things. Usually the supplier or the shipper will give it to you. But depending upon the commodity code, when I import something, this determines what it is and what duties, if anything, or tariffs, if anything, is applied to it. So you're basically declaring the proper goods. Now, as I was saying before, and this is like I see OPSIG. I'm not too sure how updated it's been for a long time. Model railroading is not, you know, I hate to say it, but model railroading is not as popular as it once was. So, especially with computers now. The problem with that is we get all specialized into the way that people want to do things, that we kind of forget okay, you know, you get into trains, you get into this, you get into that, you get into the visions of anybody who wants to create something, including myself, I suppose. And then you lose the standard ability to simply create a model railroad for yourself or your club or a group or whatever, and then you lose the ability to continue to create and stuff like this, not this, but stuff like these things here. OPSIC database is a resource that's still used today, except, you know, this is where you're on a model railroad. It's not as important, to be quite honest, because you can make up anything as long as you got cars moving. It doesn't really matter. And honestly, on a virtual, it's the same thing, except where I'm going, it's going to be probably not as anal as far as the commodity. I'm not worried about the commodity so much. What I'm more concerned with is what particular car could go in there, and even not necessarily what industry goes in there. So there's a lot of information, but I'm more interested in the car forwarding aspect of it, so that trains look somewhat realistic or believable, if that makes sense. I was doing something else here. Oh yeah, I got my chat open, but that's okay. Oh jeez. So the other one I wanted to look at was the inputs outputs, and then I may go in and let me see, the official guide. But you see, it's for your own model railroads, basically. So these are different, and there's some links that are out of date and all kinds of goofy stuff, but let me just take a look at the official guide for a second, and then I'll come back to it. That's the official guide? Really? Say what? Okay. Okay, that's more. Business shipments, byproducts, receipts. See, last time it was updated was 2005, but it hasn't changed too much, I suppose. Various chemicals, yeah. I think I'm going down the wrong rabbit hole, personally. I mean, what I can do is, I know I can find it and then look at it again if I want to, but I think I'm going down the wrong rabbit hole here. I really do. So that sucks. Oh man, what do I do in this case? So anyways, 9:41. Holy crap, what the hell happened this evening? Oh man, that took that long? Really? Okay, give me a few minutes. I gotta do something before I decide to call it a night here. I'll be back. I gotta figure out some things, so just give me a few minutes. I'll be back. Okay, sorry. Just playing around with my microphone here. I think it's okay. I'll find out in a second. I think I got an idea, which is good. It's good to have ideas because you don't want to all of a sudden be at a writer's block or whatever. What I'm probably going to do, and I'm going to feed my face in a second, that's what I'm definitely going to do, but what I'm probably going to do in this case, despite the fact that OPSIG database is a really cool resource, I've already closed the window obviously, and it's cool and all, but I'm not using it. I don't think I am going to use it. So we'll delete that. Yeah, I'm sure I want to delete it. So back to well, not square one exactly, but back to kind of where we started. But that was a good experiment, at least. That it kind of gave me the idea of, okay, well, how do I want to do this exactly? And I'm starting to think of a few ideas. Like I said, while stuffing my face. So this is the problem with these things. It's I got to talk my way through it. I can't really show much necessarily all the time. What I should have done, I should have used some data from that, now that I think about it. But let me see if I can. Do I have a history here? That's what I want. It's not everything that I want, but shoot. All right. Perfect. That's where I wanted to be. Okay. So I was updated in 2017, so that's not too bad. I thought I saw something else in here. I thought there was something specific to the paper industry someplace that I saw, but I don't see it. And again, we're dealing, I think I'm getting too specific now. Appliance manufacturing, I mean shipments, the byproducts of it. Got to keep in mind too that at one point that a lot of stuff shipped by rail, whereas yeah, a lot of stuff still does get shipped by rail, but a lot of stuff doesn't either. a lot of stuff gets shipped by truck now. Like, I'm not too sure about beer. I don't know how much beer gets shipped by rail anymore, to be quite honest. Let's forget about that. So, like I said, back to where we started tonight. And again, I'm brainstorming, but that's just the way it's going to be. So my chat's still open if you have any suggestions or ideas. But here's where I'm looking where I'm looking at going at this. The way I see it, I've got to I was going to do it city by city, state by state, but then what happens with that is you start getting into connections. And you wind up, you're actually creating a network of all of North America by doing so. Especially if your own network is very small. Now, unlike model railroads, virtual railroads are one-to-one scale, and they can get quite huge. You see what's happening in Run 8. I haven't really got into something like California for a while, but I know I went through a lot of that to try and not so much simulate California, but just basically simulate what's coming in on the trains. The way that I dealt with that was I looked at videos of the trains that were coming in. Hey, Mikey. So yeah. So I looked at the way the trains were coming in, and what would happen is from there I could get pretty much a blocking of the train, at least into the waybill data, or not the waybill data, I guess it was called the waybill database with RTS. I would get it in, put in the number of cars I saw on average. I might see, say, 3 trains, and then I could come up with an average, and I could generically get a pretty good idea as to how that train was built. I'm not going that way this time around. I'm not worried about that too much. Where I'm probably gonna go, though, is when we're dealing with car types. Because when we're dealing with car types, we're basically dealing with an input and an output. So we just saw an input-output. So the input-output can actually be as anal and, you know, as it can be. Yeah, actually, Mikey here. I was just chatting with him here. He's the one where he wanted to see some of this stuff. So I thought, yeah, I can. Basically, what I can show is I can show the process as far as where I'm thinking or the calculations. You know, but as Mikey knows, you know, as a developer as well as being part of the Run 8 team, what happens is there's a fine line between what you can show and then what you're almost giving away to the to potential competition. And I know I say Run 8 doesn't have any competition, but the truth of the matter is, at any time, especially if it's something that's never been done before, as far as I know, when the hump came out, for example, that was something that the only ones that I know that did it was Freight Yard Manager, and they, you know, that was pretty cool and all, but that was in 2D. It's similar to what I plan on doing, actually. I'll be doing a 2D one, but that's fine. But all of a sudden there was here was a hump that was working in 3D. Multiplayer itself was very innovative. because nobody else has done it. In fact, I'd say nobody else. This is the weird thing, is that a lot of places have had the opportunity to compete, and I thought there was going to be some competition, but it never really wound up this way. And as far as Run 8, I actually miss running it. I really do. I can't tell you how much I just want to just load it up and do something. I'm not talking about just running trains for the sake of running trains. That's not it. I mean, I know there's a session tomorrow night, you know, the normal Tuesday, Thursday sessions. I know that I can do that. Which spawn trains using variable cars and types. It was interesting. Oh yeah. Yeah, you used to do batch files, Mikey, if I recall. If you were doing that. I think you were doing, you showed me one time, you were doing batch files. I remember that. So, you know, doing something like that, I'm learning anti-collision? What the hell's that? Anti-collision? I don't even know what that means. What is an anti-collision? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out in what how anti-collision works. Collision. I'm thinking of something in terms of two cars connecting and the boundary or something. But that's the only thing that comes to mind with anti-collision. But so you got 9:55 Eastern. I'm gonna stay with you guys for another hour, so hopefully it's not too boring. But really, what's CMD? Because I was thinking command, as in batch files. I don't recall anti-collision. I used to do like edit config, or not config. They used to have a config.sys. They used to have autoexec.bat. This is back in the DOS days. So it was the command prompt, but you can go into Edlin, something called Edlin, and you could create a batch file that basically processed things. Copy con. I didn't get into the real word processing stuff, but I did get into the file manipulation, or menus or screen. There is really old school stuff. Yeah, oh, it is batch. Okay, it's probably a newer version of it, because I wonder if Edlin still works. Now, see, it doesn't even recognize it. Whoa! Okay, now I forget how to do it. Oh, that's copy. What the hell did I just do? I can't remember what the hell I was doing. And why am I in RabbitMQ? Why, as soon as I went into the command prompt, I went into the RabbitMQ thing? How the hell did that happen? Was that the last place I was in with the command prompt? Was RabbitMQ? That's scary. So there's your okay. There's your so like when you go cd dot dot, it, yeah, see, it takes me out of the bin, and then if I want to go into the bin, now I'm in that directory. But Copy con, I'm just trying to remember. Edlin used to be able to edit a file. Copy con would allow you to create a file. Copy con test.txt. Hello world. Oh, that didn't work. Yeah. It's been a while. I'm real rusty on it, and this is the kind of thing that I used to play with all the time, but weird. Yeah, you can go CD. You can go back out into any directory. This is the Windows. The problem is it's back in the time where file names were only limited to 8 characters. So this is totally different now. You can I don't know if you can remove a directory still. So if you go into various things, you can remove a directory. You can do all kinds of crazy things. But I'm going to exit that before I get into trouble. I don't even know what that does. Set / question mark. Interesting. No, that's I really, honestly, I kind of got out of that once I lost my power to do the things that I needed to do, and then Windows, you know, Windows took the fun out of everything. Windows 3rd generation programming, it all took the fun out of everything. For me, it did anyways, but maybe I did have fun at one time doing that. I don't know. Obviously, this woke me up because I was falling asleep playing video games earlier. I was falling asleep watching YouTube earlier, so I knew I only had 6 hours sleep last night, which isn't, maybe 5.5. So that usually puts me on borderline. If I don't keep my mind active, forget it. I'm done. And today was a boring day, so I even said at work, I said, you know, I'm going to get into this. I'm going to do something. So let's work with that something or other, shall we? Let's not try to get anal. Let's just try to do something. Sound like a plan? So, we're at sheet 3 now. Sheet 2 was a waste of time, and the test will just deal with it. So, I'm going to go into a commodity table, or do I want to go further? In fact, I want to go with a locations table. Interesting. So let's get into I've just created a locations table. Now the question is, yeah, let's go into Windy. Why not? Yeah, we like it. Thank you. I like Windy. Not that I need Windy, but it's really cool. If you guys ever see this, this is really cool. Windy.com. Very neat. Very cool. Oh wow, I got some storm snares. Oh, that's nice. Shows you all the wind currents. It'll show you everything. I don't know why I just went into that, but it kind of gave me an idea as to where exactly I want to center this. If I was to go into and I'm gonna, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and going to go into my groups. Hopefully this doesn't have any personal information up here. I don't think it does. So I'm going to go into Dispatch Central. I'm going to go ahead and download. I am in Dispatch Central, am I not? Yes. Alright. I'm going to go into the Files section, and I am going to find my territories. I'll find it. F-Tower would be a lot of fun. I saw CNR Dundas. I was thinking of trying that, but okay, so that's Mac Tier. I thought I had another one in there. Back, see, 2010. There we go. Did I not ever publish Niagara? And if I didn't, what the hell did I do with it? Are you kidding me? That means it's dead somewhere. I mean, I could do Mac Tier. Let me go ahead and load up Mac Tier then. I may focus it out of Mac Tier, I guess. That wasn't the idea originally. That's the only one I have published anymore. Let's see here. See, the problem is, look, see, I was looking at Selkirk the other night. See, I was thinking. Believe me, I want to, honestly. It's a distraction though, because it takes me away from some of the things that I really want to do. So, just because I miss it. Let's see, BC Rail, blah blah. No, none of those are mine, which really sucks, because I think one of my territories is on my computer that's all screwed up right now. And this is prior to Run 8, which is really strange that I haven't got into a TD3 territory calling a separate command. Yeah. Okay. Oh, shoot. Can I sort this by my name? Actions? No, I can't. Dang it. Okay, maybe there's a directory. Is there a directory? I don't see a directory. If there is, then I might have some more stuff somewhere. Oh, there is directories. Okay, hold on a second here. Amtrak, Canadian Pacific. That's for sale territories. No. I can't believe I never uploaded this to Dispatch Central. It wasn't a huge thing. But what I'm looking for is Niagara. I must be, man, time flies by so freaking quick. If this was 8 years ago I was doing this. CN Chicagoland, Amtrak, UP. Okay, so no, that's Laredo. Oh, this sucks. I only have. I was hoping. Is there a Canada? See in Chicagoland, that ain't it. Oh man. You know, I wonder if I have it on box. No, I'm logged in. Doesn't need. I don't have to start. What are you talking about? Holy crap! Just let me log in. What is this? They've changed this. Alright. Yeah, of course. Download train or track files. This is back in 2018. 2013. Now I was already web document images, upload train or track. Now this was I was already totally into RTS at that time. Or I should say Run 8 at that time. Nope. Well, okay, fine. I'll go with Mac tier. Let's run the Mac tier territory, or at least try to figure out. I could go with Mac tier as a base, and then I'll decide what I want to do. I have all the data for this area. It's not a big deal. Stratford sub is another one I could have done. Dundas 1954. That was a beta. They had a newer one, Guelph sub 2002. I could certainly do Fostoria, but I'm not going to. So yeah, just give me a minute here and I'm going to do it. So I guess that's the only territory I have. It was 2010. That's crazy. And I think this is a full territory. I don't know what the Honda Mac tier and all this other thing. Oh crap, they're not even TD3. So now, yes, the entire Perry Sound sub is controlled by OCS, but it isn't anymore. So this was back when I was doing the MSTS RTS. And the directional running zones is something that was just starting. Alright. So what I'll do in this one here is lost just like yeah, like my old computer. Because if I had my own computer, I'd have a lot of this stuff on it. I never thought I'd be going back to it, to be quite honest. Okay, let me extract this into the TD3 directory, actually. And then I can go ahead and take a look at this. 1015, Jesus Murphy. Okay, am I in program files? I can't remember where the hell I am in. I think I'm in regular program files. Oh, come on. Dang it. Yeah, just hold on a bit. I'll find it. See, train 2. I thought I was already there. Oh, I was looking for TD3, that's why. Okay. Gotcha. Hey, Bill. Okay. I'm gonna try one other thing, just in case it's sitting on my. No, that didn't work. TRK. How about that? That's not what I expected. NI. .trk. Why? What is with the search these days? I know that's the latest I've done in Selkirk, but where is the ability to search? Like really search? I'm pretty sure it's ni.trk. Alright, so CP Mac Tier Perry Sound is there. Was it CNNI? Pictures, music, video, files. No, that's... NI was a... No. Alright, I'm not gonna waste time looking for that. I want to get into this. So this is my TD3 territory that I want to get into here, wherever the hell it is. I know it's in here somewhere. Do I have to get out and... Yeah, you know these silly programs. Actually, no, I probably can go ahead and open, change territory. No. Let's just do this. Oh, it's right here. Okay. So yeah, this territory was there's a few things. This was for Microsoft Train Simulator plus I had a lot of information. I believe everything works like CTC, and everything is CTC now. I got a funny feeling all the tracks, yeah, all the sidings are going to be 15 miles an hour. I had a funny feeling about that one. It's not the end of the world, but some of them are 10. How come I have a 10? Yeah, whatever. So, not started. Let me see what days I got here. Oh, I didn't even start with bring it on anything. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty spread out. Now the reason why I wanted to do that was if I'm representing two subdivisions that are hooked up together like this, you're actually dealing with quite a few miles, quite a few more miles than I really wanted, to be quite honest. That's 280 miles, and this by no means is the busiest section here. So I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. I'll give you an idea as to how fast this will be pretty easy if I was to do this, to basically go in and simulate. I think the siding lengths, I don't know how specific I got with them. I got 8100 there, 8150. Looks like I was pretty accurate with that, or at least I tried to be. I don't know if no, I did a pretty good job with that, by the looks of it. 8700.
Train arrived at 1 territory.
Okay. Okay, so he's working Spence North. The reason why I'm going through this right now as opposed to actually doing work, get out of there.
Train stopped, awaiting signal.
Actually, let me stop. Yeah. I forget this territory. It's been so long. So, like I said, the reason why I'm getting into this this is where CTC and OCS begins. Then it goes, but really it's all CTC now anyways. So let me go ahead and keep going. I want to fill up the territory as much as I can. And it starts in the middle of the night. There's this is kind of the idea that I was getting at as far as a smaller area. This is available for Microsoft Train Simulator, for example. And I tried simulating Spence. Where the hell Spence Yard? It's been so long, I can't even remember where the hell everything is. Oh, here it is, right here. Okay, so yeah, so I can line this up all the way to Spence. Take a quick look at and see what's going on. See, the next one that doesn't come into there is till 4:30. If I look at the train schedules, you can see there. This is the number of trains per day. I don't know how much it's changed, quite honestly, but it's not. It's by no means is it a busy territory, and I know the busy territories are sometimes often the most fun to dispatch. But in the same way, sometimes the territories that aren't fun to dispatch is cool to just simply get an AI dispatching going. Now, I'm kind of veering off on something that's a little bit different here, because it actually relates to Run 8 in some ways. Tutorials with the layouts. The as far as the layouts here, there's a manual. It doesn't take too much. It doesn't. I mean, building a territory it's not a big deal. I've done Niagara. I have Niagara somewhere. I don't know who the hell still has Niagara. If I was to bug Michael Phillips, I'm sure he may have it on his computer. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he got rid of Train Dispatcher 3. I have no idea. So this is like 8 years ago. This is just prior to my involvement in Run 8. So this was kind of what I was doing. Honestly, at that point it was very frustrating. I remember that. So we started at, I don't know what time that train came on. Do I have a train graph here? I may have a train graph here. I'm going to have to think about it a little bit more. And this is, like I said, yeah, I do have a train graph. Holy crap. I didn't think I did, but I do. So there's, yeah, I think it's 4:35. It's so far from, so it started at West Toronto at about, it looks like 12:30. Wow, that's a lot of control points. Yeah, so 12:30 it came into West Toronto. And these guys all crew changed at Mac tier. So it's 2 big subdivisions. They would do their crew change at Mac tier, and that would be it. So I believe he's going into. So you see, there's an hour by yourself, running with nothing. Now, mind you, keep in mind. Okay, so he's going to work Spence North, which I think is here. Maybe it's over here, actually. Yes, it is. Okay. See, I can see it when I right mouse click on it. Then I can see, yeah, it's 4:35. Oh yeah, he goes in, and then he backs into Spence, which is really weird, and then he comes back out, and then he goes up to, or no, Utopia's the next one. I'm not too sure why he backs in, but he does, so I'm not going to which is kind of interesting, because see, that's now that's more of a manual operation. That has nothing to do with CTC. But in this case, TD3s has to simulate it, because and now I'm going to get into the whole RTS side of things here. TD3 is great, but TD3 is not, I think, it has room to improve. There's a lot of things about TD3 that are really cool, except I think it can be improved upon. Now, what's going to happen? I'll slow this down a bit. Like I said before, dispatching this is a breeze. So he's going to work Spence Yard. I'm gonna throw this switch. I guess in that case, yes, that because I put it this way: if it was simulated in OCS territory, there would be no signals. How it's done now, I'm not even too sure why he's backing up, except I believe it's a stub end yard, if I recall. I'm not even too sure why this one is like, there's 2 switches here. There's one goes that way. It's been so long since I've been on the territory, I can't even remember how this worked. But let me go ahead and let him do his thing. but he's going to stop. Then he's going to turn around and work the yard. There he goes. I want to make sure I know what he's doing. So he's going to work Spence next. Does that for 20 minutes. Does Spence north again. Oh, he works for another 5 minutes for some reason or other. I can't remember why, but he must be for something. Oh yeah, there's the Alliston Honda. I'll get him up to the diamond for now. So yeah, train frequency 4 per day. See, that's one where it's like, okay, it actually does come. It doesn't run in the middle of the night, so if it actually does run, it's kind of unrealistic. But in reality, I'd love to be able to set the diamond. Actually, that diamond's now, they don't run. That's Barry Collingwood, and they don't even run up there anymore. Actually, he's got to go into this yard, if I recall. I think he has to work Utopia. Utopia is an interchange. Actually, the interchange is still there, but they don't run south of there anymore. Or actually, technically, that's west. This is north, and that's south. A lot of the track work has changed. There's a lot of new CTC in at various places, and once the territory's warmed up, then it could get busier, and there might be more data out there now. This is back in, I think this was 2006 data. So he's already been on duty for who knows how long. I want to make sure that he is indeed going through there. So yeah, dispatching this is nothing really at all to worry about. Yeah, he works Utopia. He'll exit at Romford. But I can see, now, ugh. I got these LDs, and I can't. Loaded dimensionals, I guess. I don't know what the hell they are. I don't know what that means. It's probably in my instructions somewhere, but I'll just let it go. So yeah, I don't even know what that is. TA11. I remember the trains, but that's got to be something to do with something else. Yeah, but then by the time the daytime comes, then this really starts to heat up a little bit. So you start it on a Sunday, and then you just keep going, and then then it gets good. But so let me just warm up this territory a bit. Forget how long he's gonna work there till okay, so he's scheduled to depart any time. I believe he had a crew platform, yeah, Mac tier. Yeah. So I have to call out a crew change by the time he gets there at 126. But I won't do that just yet. Now once you get to the daylight, then things start to get better. But at the same time, it actually will. What's happening is you got 4 hours worth of trains that have already come south or north, so there's actually stuff that's out there. So he did work at Spence. That's a yard that you can simulate. If I was to do Mac Tier, for example. There's the auto. I'd have to go through some of my notes. I don't even know if I even have those notes on this computer. Because what happened was I got the new computer for Run 8. And anything I did before Run 8 would have been on the old computer that eventually did crash around the same time. Okay, so what's the next one that's coming out? So he's coming out at 4:30. So yeah, it's really boring right now. But the good thing is once I save this, then I can get some ideas. This is like I said, this isn't challenging. Even once you get things going, it's not really that busy. It's busier when it was track worn and all that stuff. Now, I think today there's a few more trains, but I was watching the ATCS monitor feeds up by Perry Sound actually the other night. In fact, this is it right here. This is the CN section right there. I don't simulate it, but what happens here at Reynolds now is it becomes directional running. I don't simulate that. But in reality, if you had this, you could, since it is realistic. It's not as fun to dispatch because what happens is this is the ballast sub, and this is actually the ballast sub. The ballast sub's actually the entire length, whereas CP it's divided into two subdivisions. So this goes up to Romford, which is just by Sudbury. The reason why I did, well, there's a couple reasons why I did this particular territory. I believe by that time I knew Ted Kosala, who actually did the Microsoft. He did the update to the Microsoft Train Simulator territory, and by that time, I was in. I was into the Waterloo Regional Model Railroad Club, which is still there. You can WRMRC.com, I think, or just do a Google search for WRMRC Waterloo Region, or just whatever. You should be able to find their club if you're into looking at model railroads. It's a really cool club. But I decided to leave it because I was, number one, it was an hour and a half away to Guelph. I'd have to drive all the way to Guelph to, which is by Kitchener Waterloo. So I have to go, pretty much west and north of here. And they would, only run every other month or something like that. It used to be monthly, and then they didn't run in the summer, but then things changed. But you can see the various industries that I have. So I've got some of those industries set up. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any track maps of all the various stuff. Like up here, I don't think there's any industry. Down here, there's a little bit more. So anytime you have these things, there's an industry in there, which is kind of cool. I'm somewhat familiar, still kind of familiar with the Vaughn. That's the intermodal terminal, so they go in and out of there. Spence has to do with the auto traffic, mainly auto traffic. I'm not exactly sure what else. I believe they leave cars for a different train and blah blah blah. It would take me a long time to go through and try to do it. This is though kind of an idea that gets me, okay, how do I want to do it? Do I want to have it so that, because in this case it's actually pretty simple. You simulate, you can simulate the intermodal terminal for the loading and emptying. So this can become an area like a screen that you're basically, with RTS you can simulate the Vaughn intermodal terminal. You could also have one that does Spence as well as and Spence has a lot of storage set off for the switcher that goes to Alston Honda. You'll see that in some of the simulation here, and I'm probably going to continue this on for a little bit just to see. I mean, it's 10:40. I can go a little bit past 11, not too much, because I've already slept tonight. So we'll get to where hopefully there's some interesting operation going here. I'll keep going. Oh, I gotta make a crew change. Forget how to do that. Oh, was I supposed to do a 2-hour crew change? Oh, how about that? How long are you supposed to work then? I'll call a 30-minute one. I think I'm only supposed to call a 30-minute one, but I could be wrong. Okay, so he doesn't have any works planned, but he's got the crew change set, so I'll let him go at 1:03. Yeah, I'll call crew change right now. So call crew change for MacTier. And again, these are things I normally the dispatcher doesn't deal with this, but in Train Dispatcher 3 you're stuck doing it. I love the crew change function. So see, now what's happening is he'll arrive at 4:42 to do his crew change, because this is they always do crew changes. It's basically like Needles on with Needle Sub. Everybody's changing crews there. Oh, I got a train coming up pretty soon here. Let me wake up for that. That's only scheduled for Sunday? Really? Well, that's interesting. Huh. Okay. Well, I got two actually. I got a 4:29 to 4:30. So now it's going to get a little busier. So 1:14. Oh, he's just going to exit out of the area and just keep going, so that's fine. And then we've got XNA1, whatever the hell that is. I'm not 100% sure. XN. Oh, an intermodal terminal. Okay, perfect. So yeah, like once it's warmed up, you figure it's 4 o'clock. These trains start building up. So yeah, it gets interesting. I'll show you what I mean. Now the 400 series train does some, a tiny bit of work. Yep. I had to slow it down.
Train arrived at 1 territory.
Okay, so so we'll run it a half an hour and then speed it up each one. So for this one, I'll bring it to about mile 90, which is kind of what I did. This guy I'll bring up to about 44. Maybe I'll bring it a little bit further. It's got no work. That's good. He's got a crew change at Mac tier, and he shouldn't have any work as well. Alright. Oh. One thing that and this is my 15:30 type thing. So next time is at 7 o'clock. So usually what I do is I will go 15 minutes. He's coming up to his crew change. Then I slow it down. This is how I dispatch a territory. If I do want to dispatch a territory like this, this is how I normally dispatch it. I slow it down, speed it up. Of course, I'm trying to get into real-time stuff, so I mean, yeah, I can dispatch, but at the same time, I could also yardmaster. I can wear more than one hat. This makes it, for me, makes it more of an ideal run 8 territory, because then it's just like, okay, now you got something going on. So yeah, he's going 55 miles an hour, so I'll get him going up to we'll go to 76 for now. He's going to have his crew change at 4:42. He's already waiting, which is fine. So we'll get him up to 30. I don't think I simulated these, if I'm not mistaken. No, I didn't. Yeah, we'll get him up to there. And this dude here, we'll get him up to 51. Yep. Again, the next one's at 7 o'clock, so like I said, speed it up to 5. Now, how did this become simulating a TD3? I have no idea tonight, or running a TD3, but I figured I'd go with it. I still have to give this some thought. So this is my 15:30 rule. I use this. For those of you that have seen me dispatch before, this is the same rule that I use, and this is why doing AI is actually in a line such as this. It's very easy to do. There's no really double track takeovers or anything. This is an optimal line for simple AI. So, or AI dispatching, I should say. So I'll show you how it works in a minute. So yeah, actually I'll show you how it works right now. So it's 5:01 a.m. I give each train 30 minutes of territory. So every time the 15-minute marks comes, then I'm giving him another 30 minutes. And because these guys are going about 60 miles an hour, I'll give him I'll give him up to 60. So to give him up to 60, I bring him to here. Now I also have to keep in mind the conflicts. So he's already had his new crew at Mac tier. So he's going to go up to 25, which puts him into here. Now this is where I'm going to have a decision process based probably on the 515 choice that I have to make. This guy has no conflicts whatsoever. He's around 35, so I'll give him, I don't know how fast he's going. He's going 49 right now. The speed limit's changed, so of course you got to consider that as well, but I'll bring him up to 69, which all I'm doing is just giving him a little bit more signals. Clear my switches there. As long as he's within a half an hour, my rule is I can give it to him. If he didn't, then no, I shouldn't. So that brings it up to Craighurst. Then we'll bring this to 515. Okay. So he's coming up to 79 at Pickerel. I can bring him up to 49 where he's at right now, which is good. Oh, one thing I do too is I would always see what trains are coming up. Now I already know from looking at this before that the next trains that are coming up at 7 a.m. so I don't have to worry about any other trains that are coming onto the territory. So he's good. This guy just left 18, so I'll give him, say, 20. I'll give him up to 20. So he can come up to 50. Now looking at the type of train, he's 435, 114. I believe I should be good to throw him into the siding. So that's how I would make the logic determination at that point. You give him up to where you know you got him, and then at that point, once it gets to a point where the next one is going to be a conflict by both, then you have to decide which one's going to get there, throw it in. The logic to do that is kind of a look ahead, but at the same time you don't worry about it if there's not going to be a conflict that you're aware of. If you have enough approaching and you know there's only one siding, well then you know that siding's going to be it. The other thing you have to look into is the length of the sidings. So you're checking, and these are things that you do, that a human will do with dispatching, but it's really not that hard, especially not when you have a territory such as this. It's pretty straightforward. So bring him up to 80. Now we'll go to 530. It's 10:53 Eastern right now. I'll let some of these meets go at live time, and then I'll talk about a few things. So just like that, you can see, things are working the way they should. So he just left 29.6. I am going to go ahead and stack these signals, even though it does say it's OCS. I know it's not anymore, so I'm going to run it as if it was CTC. So I'm still a ways away from 7 o'clock where the next trains are coming on. So there's a stack right there. and then I'll put another one here. See, this is the way I like to stack signals in the dispatching, just like that. Instead of doing this, counting the number of trains and all this other stuff, that's all that is basically I've stacked it. I don't have to worry about trigger points and all that other garbage. It's all based on the control points. The trigger points get screwed up. I always found in the external dispatcher. It was not my favorite thing. It was actually a pet peeve of mine. But yeah, he's only going up to about 90 as it is, so I'll go up to 545 and then I'll slow it down. And then I will actually save this territory before we end tonight, so you can see the meet's going to take place pretty soon. I'll slow this down to real time. There we go. Okay. So you can see the yellow is set up ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this at 6 o'clock in another 15 minutes and call it a night. But now I'm going to talk about pretty much from here where this goes. So this meet is set. Everything that has to be done in this meet is already set. It can be done by an AI dispatcher. I am just a monkey pushing buttons right now. This does not take magical thoughts. Of course, when you start dealing with higher capacity lines such as a transcontinental, when then you're dealing with double tracks and overtakes and different powers and all kinds of different things, yes, it gets more complicated. Something like this isn't that complicated. The reason why a lot of these things aren't as automated is because essentially they need a human to sit by the phone in case there's an emergency. That's all that's for. The dispatcher has to be there to make sure that everything is okay if something goes wrong. But because we're in the virtual world, we can have the computer act as the 911 operator, basically, to do that kind of thing. So 73, he just left there, so he's going up to 103. I'm going to do a half-hour crew change calls. So there. Actually, I'll put him up to the main there, and then we will. So now, as far as timing that comes out of here, it can get a little complicated. But again, as long as it's safe versus efficient, it's better to be safe and efficient. And then when you have that 15:30 rule, you can always readjust. So this meet is actually going to happen to the point where he might actually hold up. This guy, 42 miles an hour. He's down to 38. So yeah, it's going to be close. But because of the 15-mile-an-hour switches, yeah, it ain't going to work as well for this guy, but that's okay. It's probably the best thing to do. You don't want to hold a train back off. If you can hold them off for a few seconds, it's not a big deal. There's no passengers on this line either, so used to be, but not in this era. Let's see here. So I'm going to bring him up to 78. So now I'm giving up to pick roll 18. And the beautiful thing about this method too, as far as crew changes go, is I know when to call a crew change based on when the signal gets there. So 73, yeah, he's going to go a little past 103. Actually, I already did that one. Okay, let this run for a few minutes and let me talk about some various things here while I still have a voice. And this thing's, still running through. So the way I'm looking at doing ATCS, yes, I do want to have it so that it can handle better territories, more efficient territories, etc. But to start out, until I feel comfortable enough that the AI logic is good, then once I feel the logic is good, then things will go okay. Just want to make sure that my microphone is on. If the logic works well at a basic level, then I can up the tempo and add more trains and complicate matters. At some point, I would take it that the logic would, if it has a bug in it, it means it's going to fail, and it's going to be stuck with what they call basically a cornfield meat. If it's at least safe, as in maybe not 100% efficient, but it gives you as much as efficient as the logic will allow, then that's better than nothing anyways, because you probably have run maybe on certain multiplayer sessions or whatever. Yeah, see, this guy even got here before him. So you've probably run on various multiplayer sessions where things just didn't things weren't as efficient as you'd like. I've been there. I think we all have. Some like certain dispatchers more than others. Not to toot my own horn, I know Scott used to always mention to me, he said he used to love running with me dispatching. He thought I was really good at it, and it's like, I appreciate the compliment, but at the same time, I've been doing this dispatching for years. I miss doing it, honestly. In Run 8, I miss doing it. This kind of dispatching, you really don't do too much. This is actually quite more relaxing. So see, now he's going into the siding. Of course, he's 15 miles an hour. This guy's going to probably complain about stopping in a minute. I already checked the lengths. I just want to compare the lengths again. So yeah, he's a 7,000 footer versus a little 3,500 manifest train. So he should clear, hopefully. He's supposed to get at the end of the line at 654. Or 555. Yeah, so he'll be cleared out of the way. This will be a running meet, believe it or not. So that's good. So that's just, that worked out perfectly. There's random variance in here. I don't know if I have it set. I should have it set. Random defect. I better have it. Random train, random defect. Oh yeah, I do. In fact, I got 50% late percentage, which really makes it. I'm not too sure what the LD, like, loaded dimension, dimensionals, long dimensionals, local. I have no idea why I got that in there. And then locals, so okay. But what would happen is this isn't the modules are going to be built in such a way so that the AI dispatches. Not only does it dispatch one little section like this is one little section, even though we're talking 180 180 miles, or what is it, 280 miles, did I say? Yeah, I guess it's 280 miles. What do we got? 120. We got yeah, 250 miles. So 250 miles of mainline railroad in this section alone. I can go further because then I'm also familiar with the trains out of Sudbury in the Romford area. So if I really wanted to, what I could do in this case, Toronto gets a little tricky because then you're dealing with a lot of other stuff. If I wanted to, and I'm more of a CN guy than a CP guy. The reason why I'm actually liking this as a start basically is because I can go a little bit further and I can look at look at some of my notes and look at some of the back data, or even check their website out, and I can find out what all the trains are that run on the Car Chase sub, or did run on the Car Chase sub. And see what I meant? He never stopped. He was like a minute away from stopping. He got his light and away he goes. He's down there. There he goes. I didn't do anything there. I'm just looking. He's gonna get his light now. My mouse is over there. It delays it for a second and boom, just like that. And that was with random parameters. I like random parameters. I wish I go back, and I know I keep going back onto Run 8 because a lot of these things could have happened. You look at the when I first saw the screenshot, and I was like, one of the screenshots they showed with the random variants on it, and it ran at certain days of the week and everything like that. I said to myself, this is going to be awesome. And unfortunately, that didn't go that way, because then we had the random bingo ball selector, which picks the same damn train and throws it 3 times at the same location sometimes, even though you have 100 symbols in the system. So it's not that fun in comparison. But this, I've actually had territories that are much more complex, that create a lot more. This is very relaxing, actually. Some people might like to run this in real time if you like to listen to some music and do some other things, I guess. But 3 trains on a territory, I mind you, it gets a little bit busier during the daytime because there's more locals running around and stuff like that. But like I said, this guy hasn't even reached the end. So when you think about it, it takes about over 6 hours just to warm up the territory. We've got trains coming up now. There's 752. You can see, if things start picking up, then it's fine. Plus, there's massive random variants in here as well. So there's a lot of delays that are thrown in. So it takes a while to warm up. But once things warm up, then you're looking at the various stuff from there. Yeah, thanks, Mikey. Have a good one, man. We'll take care. I'm going to be shutting down very shortly myself. But, so how is this going to work? I can tell you, as I mentioned before, what you don't see here. Well, let's talk about what we do see here. This is just an example. I'm using this territory as a starter point. And yeah, it's Canadian, and I'm familiar with the cars. I'm kind of familiar with what comes through and may or may not come through. Really, the commodities don't matter, and honestly, the industries don't matter too much outside of the area. I was thinking it did, but that's just complicating things, and I don't want to complicate it. I want to get this thing going. This playing Train Dispatcher 3 is not, although I'm talking about doing it right now, I could run this in the background while I do coding, to be quite honest. And I may do that at some point. Of course, I'm not going to be live streaming all of that as well. But at the very least, I can go through the various formulas. So what we have here, as I mentioned before, Spence Yard, for example, I believe that is the auto rack set off. There's an auto plant here. So the empties come in, they loads in, boom, boom. Some trains come and pick it up. So there's an operation right there. Keep in mind, not only am I working on AI dispatching, but I'm also working on AI yard mastering. I'm also working on AI controls of the actual trains themselves, so that they will come in, they will do what they're supposed to do based on various parameters as to what tracks, etc., etc., etc. Same with industries. If there's a switcher that is switching Cargill, it's going to deal with it. Hotbox detectors, same thing. I know Run 8 doesn't have AI. They have AI, or sorry, they have hotbox detectors, but they don't know what to do when the AIs do it. Basically, I mean, the AIs don't stop and deal with the hotbox, and I don't know why they don't, but they don't. No big deal. So it is what it is. So we're at 11:09. I'm actually having fun right now. I could talk a little bit more about this because I want to go beyond this. This is more than just this. The beauty thing about it is, like, when I talk about Run 8, I would actually enjoy running a territory this small, because yeah, you're only getting maybe a few meets, and you're running for, you know, obviously you're running for hours. You could still start your tour of duty at Mac tier. Maybe you're going to get one meet. This guy's only had one meet, but we'll see what happens with this guy. He might have a few more. See how that goes. Oh, there was a stop waiting for signal. Was that before? Oh, no, that was before. Sorry, I had all these old alerts there, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Okay, so let me just keep going. It's 11:11. I'm not. I gotta keep my voice down a little bit, but let's go to 11:30 Eastern. We'll do that. I was sleeping for an hour and a half on the couch tonight, at least, maybe 2 hours, to be honest. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm wide awake at the moment, and my voice isn't gone yet, so that's a good thing. So let's start with this guy here. Well, first of all, the next trains that are coming on is at 7 o'clock in 1 hour. We're not going to make it that far tonight. I'm only going to do another 15 minutes. So I'll get this guy going here. He's at about 85. I'll bring him up to... Yeah, I'll bring him up to Bala. Not to be confused with the Bala sub. The Bala sub runs, like, CN and CP runs parallel quite a bit once you get up towards Mac tier. That's why at Reynolds they have the crossover, and now they use directional running. But there was a time where they didn't do something like that. So I got him up to here. This guy, he's not within 30 miles yet, but he's getting there. So I'm not going to do a crew change this time around, but I'll bring him 45. About 15, so I'll bring them up to it, but I won't assign a track. So Mac tier has 4 tracks basically. It's all for crew changes. If they're short on crews, the trains just sit there. That's something that RTS can probably simulate as well. Crew shortages, they do happen, and that's what these things are for. So if you have crew shortages, then and that's something, quite frankly, I would love to see in the dispatcher program too. But all of that, remember, originally I was going to go top down. I was going to go worried about the dispatcher first, and then worry about the yards, then worry, you know, about the way bills. I'm actually working the opposite way now. So yeah, I'm still thinking of the way bills first, but I'm going to do that a little bit differently. Did I 48, 58, 68, 78? I don't think I did. So yeah. So right there, I mean, I got 3 trains I have to pay attention to, and that's it. All the meets are done. There's no meets set up at the moment. Of course, that'll change as time moves on. Now keep in mind, the way I want to run it is so that everything is running 24/7, just like a server. Except it's going to be much bigger than just one little territory like this. This is going to expand into and morph into an entire network. I'm starting with I don't know if I'm going to start with Perry Sound, for example. But this is why I started looking at the bigger scheme of things as far as the industries go. Because morphing yards and I think it would be based on demand, I suppose, based on demand or interest, or you know, I haven't really thought out all of those things quite yet. Obviously, I haven't thought out about a lot of things. But once you deal with this, so you got Spence, okay, that's fine. Allison Honda plant, same thing. They come in. There's the over here is it's a Y, and then they go in and the Allison plant there, basically it's a work area there for them to back up. I'm not too sure about this way. I think they go into the yard because they don't get all the auto traffic comes from the States mainly. You don't get stuff coming in from this way. I forget how the hell that works, to be quite honest. I'd have to look into the way things work on that, but Midhurst siding backtrack, I don't even know if anything switches that, but I got it in there anyways. Yeah, there's not too much industry once you get down that way, and I totally forgot about this way. You know, West Toronto, there's a lot of industries in this area. Unfortunately, even though there's a yard nearby, I don't really have anything other than at some point you have to create a portal. So what looks like to be portals here as entry points, in reality this could be connected to a network that would continue. Now, do I want to get so far as to say, well, you know, I'd like to get into hump operations? Now, I don't think there's a hump for CP. CP's not as big of a railroad as CN is in Canada. CN's actually a little busier. So I don't think they have a hump operation that I'm aware of. But I'm thinking more to deal with what I know based on my experience, and my experience would take me this way. Once you get to Romford, you're basically getting into an area, and this again reflects the Waterloo Regional Model Railroad Club. You're getting into a situation that is actually very similar to what Barstow is in California, except at a much smaller scale. In other words, this is the main line that heads into Toronto to Sudbury. Once you get into Sudbury, but this is actually the Transcon for CP, or the what they call the Southern Transcon. Once you get into Romford, they had a line. Now, here's another thing. I gotta mention this too. Again, this is based on 2006 data. If I'm not mistaken, by then, yeah, 2006 the Chalk River sub still existed. I'm pretty certain of that. In fact, in my separation, it was 2000, and well, crazy enough, it was I was doing this, my son was 2 years old. So the separation occurred around 2011, 2012, so obviously I was still doing hobbies, because I was doing this while my son was, like I said, 2 years old. So, but what happened was, before they ripped out the Chalk River sub, anything that was going to Montreal, for example, would actually head straight across, and anything going Toronto to Montreal wouldn't even go here. So going up to Sudbury, there was a divisional point, another crew change at Sudbury, and you would have trains go all the way across Western Canada, as well as trains to head out east to Montreal. It wouldn't go further than Montreal, I don't think. There was a port in Montreal. There was, you know, CN went to the East Coast, but Montreal, Canadian Pacific only went, I think, as far as Montreal. I'm not positive on that. It might have gone a little bit further. The point of what I'm trying to get at here, MAC tier, even though it looks like a yard, is not. It's very much like Needles. It just has a bunch of tracks for stopping over for crew changes. That's all it's for. Sudbury is a cool operation. In a much smaller scale, it's very much like what Romford. It's very much what like a Barstow, except at a much smaller scale. Because what you have there is a 15-track yard. I think it's 15 tracks, if I recall. And you have trains that come in. A lot of these trains that are the non-intermodal trains, such as this guy here, I'd have to look at the symbols again, but you know, they basically set off and pick up cars at Romford, at Sudbury, and they'd continue off, and then the locals, the yard locals, would switch it. This is where I want to really get into, is the actual switching of the yard, going in, being able to build up new locals, and there's a lot of mining operations in Sudbury. There's all kinds of neat things. So it's very industrial, resource industrial. Up by the Sudbury area, there's a lot of nickel mines, copper, lot of cool stuff. So it's a really cool area to actually have a yard and an operation. And again, RTS is going to be going into that so that you have a 2D screen of the yard and trains come in and come out. I think this is a pretty good one to try. I'm not 100% sure. I got to think about this, but I think this is a good one to base a prototype on for RTS, and then eventually, I think once I do Cartier, the Cartier sub goes west and east towards Montreal at a certain limit. I'm actually going to post a message on the Waterloo Regional forum about this operation, just to let them know what I am planning to do, because I have the most information. Now they model in the 70s. I could go back as far as the 70s as an era, but I don't think I will. I think this is based on 2006 data, and then the reason why I went with the modern anyways was because I wanted to simulate that. There you can see the ballast sub now is lit up. So they have 12 trains a day, for example. So the ballast sub, this is CN's Transcontinental. It says 12 trains a day, so one every 2 hours. But I don't know. I think they're a little bit busier now, but I could be wrong on that one. But that's what I have it set up for. Whereas this one only has 4. I don't even know if it has 4. I thought it was down to 2, but anyways. So 11:23. I'm coming up to. Let's see. We get this guy going here. So he's up to 90. I don't have to add any more track to that because there's a big, huge section in between. I'll give him. Now I'm going to do the crew change. So I'll call a crew change for McAteer. For 6:30. Really? Oh, 6:45, sorry. It won't let you do it unless it's a half an hour, so I got my wrong. You must select the, yeah. Let's try that again. Okay, it liked that. If I work backwards to 96, I'm pretty much there as well, so I'll go ahead and bring him in. Again, I'm checking the lengths. 7,000 is fine. I may go to 1145. I don't want to, but, well, I should say I don't want to. It's just, I said I wasn't gonna. So let's do that to 645. I just there's a few more things I want to talk about in regards to. So there's the crew changes are set now. Yeah, everything else is pretty much. So like I said, there's still not much going on, but again, keep in mind that the random train variations will cause this to fluster, I guess. But again, like I said before, as far as Run 8 goes, this is where running a territory like this actually is feasible for a 24/7 server. Now, I realize, you know, it's probably not ideal for a 24/7 server, because most 24/7 servers are a little bit busier than this. You're going to have more than 3 trains in it, and especially a dispatcher who's twiddling his thumbs. But it does work very well for a small group, and it works very, very well for a single player. Because when you think about it, the only thing that's happened so far, switching wise, is the set off or potential pickup at Spence Yard. Everything else has been pretty much trains running. So this, ideally, you know, you get to run your thing, you're running with purpose. You don't know where your meets are going to be. If you're running with a dispatcher and you're a crew, you do not know where your meets are going to be. You don't know when you have to stop and wait for something, like that diamond coming up, for example. So it's things like those that you don't really, you know, have to know what's going on. So let me just fast forward this a little bit, because I don't think I need to talk too much longer. See, the train's going through now. So yeah, I got the 7 o'clock coming. Now I gotta figure out where they're coming. WT. I'm not too sure. That's West Toronto. Okay. Oh, that's a local TA11. All right. It's been a while. So see, he works. See, this is exactly what I was talking about, the TD3 data. If I go top down and you start throwing these things, notice how the territory automatically says every time you're going to get that train length. I want to avoid that. I want to have actual real data, or not real data, but actual data that makes sense controlling that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that, you know, makes sense or whatever, but yeah, I want data that actually drives what's happening with these trains. So that's why when I was originally getting serious again about this. I wanted to have it so that the waybills drive it. Now, of course, as I was saying before about portals, you know, they can only take you so far. Hold on a second. So, okay, so 7 o'clock, he's going to come on, but I got nothing else coming the other way, correct? 7:52 is the next one, so he's good. 109. Oh, that's an automatic anyways. Automatic interlocking, I can use it. I don't have the manual set up, so whoever gets there first basically gets it. That's how that works. So I got the crew change set. Yep. I can stack this one. And then this guy here, I can probably stack the other way. Why not? And he's set to go off the territory. Don't have to worry about him. And just for the shits and giggles here, take a look at the train graph. I don't know why that one looks like goes upside down there. Oh, I don't know. Back to your south, and then it goes all the way up to Brit North, and then it comes back down again. That looks a little weird. I don't know what that's about. That could be a bug, actually. Although it doesn't seem to be a bug the other way, so I don't know what the hell happened there. There must be some type of issue. That should have been Bala. I think that was some kind of bug. That should have gone right there. But you can see that was... These guys, you know, barely stopped here. Slowed down, but that was about it. So that's been, you know, pretty much the only meet so far. So yeah, he came on the territory at 12:30. He had his crew change at where is it? Mac Tier. Oh, maybe it's Mac Tier where the crew change kind of screwed that up for some reason. Maybe, I don't know. But it doesn't look like you got anything for Bala. But anyways, so yeah, he's, you know, we're already up to getting close to 6 hours now, and like I said, you warm up a territory long enough and you get these trains start coming through, then, you know, suddenly you got some meets going on. But so yeah, Sudbury is just you know, about 10 miles outside of here. What happens is Romford goes into a junction. I'm just trying to think. It is a Y, is it not? Yes, it is. I don't know why I had to think about that. I Y the Canadian, which is basically the transcontinental passenger train that used to run in that era, actually, up that way. Back then it was originally a CP train, but now it's run by Via Rail, and it primarily runs on CN track. But Romford has a Y that hooks up directly to the car chase sub, both directions. And it's kind of funny because I always speak to my experience in that last model railroad club I was at, because that's really the essence of everything that I'm trying to reproduce, but at a much bigger scale. Because I want to go beyond that. I want to go to various yards. I wouldn't mind tackling Toronto, to be quite honest. Toronto's bigger, but it's doable. CP's small enough scale that they do have enough of an operation. If I can get enough data, I might be able to pull it off. I'm not sure. I just have to get into the data side of things. But that's where suddenly you got a network that is going to be, if it's just the car, I don't know if it would be just the Cartier sub. The Cartier, well, we'll see how it goes. But once you get beyond there, you get into the mines, you get to some various other industries. There's a little bit of lumber. So you're really getting into a lot more. But it makes it probably a good test, and then I'm able to do my dispatcher. I would actually take my own territory. The reason here's the reason why I have to look at it this way. If I'm going to get into the dispatcher module, I need to base it off of a real, not necessarily a real, but I have to base it off as either create it right from scratch, or I got to base it off a territory that already exists. Because if this was my territory, I could do it. I could just basically take whatever's in this territory, copy it over, and then you'll see the difference between what it's done in TD3 and how I'm going to have it in RTS. That's a module that's going to be in there. Not only is it going to be in there that you can manually control and take it at any time, but you'll be able to AI it. At some point, if everything goes the way I'm hoping it goes, and I may start small, I probably will, but at some point I want it to run 24/7. And this is where this whole thing with Run 8 comes into play. I don't know what Run 8's doing. I've burned a lot of bridges, and I'm not too worried about that, because I'd rather be honest than to be full of, a bunch of BS. I'd rather be honest and true to what I think needs to be done, or whatever. And it's not, be critic or whatever the heck it is. There's a lot of things that if there was an editor in Run 8, I would still be doing Run 8 today. At one time I could care less about an editor, but at this point in the game, because there hasn't been, it's grown, but then it only grew, it got to the point where it got to capacity as far as the growth capacity to my liking, and that's why I kind of got bored of it. And you might say, well, why the hell would you go to this? Because this looks boring as hell, and to be quite honest, I could see this getting very boring as hell. That's not the point. The point is, this becomes 24/7. Now the operation, it's not so much the dispatcher, it's the ability that the dispatcher is there. There's still the Cartier sub to dispatch as well. Then there's whatever other part of the network you want to put in. If you want to put the West Toronto sub, if you want to put the Galt sub, there's all kinds of subdivisions that are connected to this beyond that come into play. Now I have ATCS data of CP south of here. In fact, I have this section in ATCS data as well, but I start going into the Galt sub, I start going into the Belleville sub. Now all of a sudden, not only do I start off with that little network that I'm talking about, a hub in Sudbury, to start out small scale, but then eventually I go this way. If I go this way, now we're talking Toronto, and that's going to be a lot bigger, because that yard is going to be a lot bigger. There's going to be a lot more AI. The AI is going to have to be more advanced. It's going to be something. But let's start with small scale first. If I can get this going and then start with just a simple little AI operation at Spence. This is well, there's a few of them. There's one there's one at Spence. There's a very small one at Utopia. So that's something I can look at as well. Vaughan Intermodal, you can have the intermodal terminal, you can have that whole thing working. The plant at Allison as well, where the interaction with Spence Yard. You can have that getting into play. Crew change call function, Mac tier, you can actually have the crew changes. You can have a crew change dynamic that allows you to slow things down or have crew shortages perhaps. I haven't really looked into that too much yet, but that's something I would love to see. Everything else is just going to be like TD3, except in my own flavor. Maybe on a CTC panel. I think I'm going to be using the CTC panels as opposed to the displays like this. I'll get into more information on that as time rolls on. But I think we got a good base to start with. I think this is a good one to start with. And honestly, I didn't even know tonight if I was going to go this way. But obviously I'm still awake right now at 11:40 and I'm not bored yet, so this is starting to look, you know, pretty promising, to say the least. So I'll probably continue this conversation. If I don't do it Tuesday, I'll do it Wednesday. I'll have to go back into the data and decide how I want to do it. I think the way I'm looking at it right now is, again, what type of car types do I want to have on these trains? Does it really matter? Does anybody really care? It's moddable anyways. I want to have realistic card types. I already know the industries in this area, so that's a good thing. I don't know all of them, but I know enough of them that I can get a pretty good feel as to what it may or may not do for some of these locals, especially because this area is very close. This is Toronto. You're getting into the Toronto area, basically. You know, this is the outskirts of Toronto, right here, Vaughan Mills area. So this here is getting into Toronto, but this is the Transcon heading north. So you're getting into, you know, there's going to be local switching, multiple maps. It's all going to be, the whole idea of this is to allow it to run 24/7 unmanned. If they say, like, what the hell would you want to have something that is capable of doing that for? The reason why you do that is you put it unmanned. First of all, there's a couple things you can do. If it was Run 8 based, I'll tell you my theory on that, but if it's just RTS without Run 8, it runs whenever the hell it wants to run. It does its thing, and that's it. It just keeps going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. Now, if I was to do a server based out of something like this, here's how I would do it, and this is why I say smaller scale for Run 8 has potential. Say, for example, this was created as a 24/7 server. Well, guess what? Anybody who's running one of these trains can do this in anarchy mode or with an AI dispatcher. The other thing to look at is you can have it by a demand-based system. Remember what I was saying here at Mac tier. Having a demand-based system. You either have the crews or you don't. Yeah, AI is great. I love AI. And you know, for certain things, yes. I think I would continue to have, like, the trains that don't do anything, let them continue to do whatever it is they have to do as AI. But the ones that, in the current Run 8 model, let's say, if nothing got changed, what you could do is anything that has switching, those become more on-demand based. So this local here would be an on-demand based call-up. If there's no crew available at whenever this guy comes out, like if you look at him here, 7 o'clock, he's a local, right? And he's going to switch. Well, he's the spent switcher. So this guy becomes an on-demand feature. This guy would have been, because he made a crew change. This guy wouldn't. This guy wouldn't. So these two become actual AI trains, whereas this one becomes it requires an actual human crew, because they have to, at the very least, be able to switch this area. Once they've switched that area, they can switch it over to AI once all the work is complete, and then it can go. But anything that needs work, such as the yards or anything like that, becomes on demand. And the cool thing about that 24/7, you run a 24/7 server with something like this, you know, there'll be work available, especially when it goes on demand, because when it goes on demand, it may or may not happen. You know what I'm saying? Now, back to Run 8 again, and the future of Run 8. What's going to happen in version 3? I still talk about Run 8, because Run 8 is very strong in my... I've spent way too much time on it to just forget about it. If Run 8 version 3 incorporates some of the AI stuff that I'm going to lay out this fall, and in fact it's summer still, I'm starting to lay it out now. I'm starting to think about things now, so I'm well on my way to doing what I have to do, and the reason why I'm doing it is out of boredom during the week. So I'm still doing it. What's going to end up happening is I will have an AI prototype dispatcher, I'll have an AI prototype switcher, I'll have AI prototype everything. This will be the framework. And then it'll be up to Run 8 whether or not they want to consider approaching me. I'll put the offer out there. I'll be able to work with them if they want to work with me. If they don't, well, that's okay. I'm just going to do my own thing anyways, because then I'll just take this in a totally different direction. And I have big plans for this, and I can make money off this. So it's either going to be making money, perhaps in some way, you know, doing this with Run 8. And I mean, I'm probably kidding myself if I think I'm going to be doing business with Run 8, because I don't think it's going to happen. I wish it would, but I doubt it. So that's what I see for version 3. And the thing is, it's kind of sad, because version 3, or whatever Run 8 is going to become, if it works, it's a 3D simulator. There's nothing else out there that comes close. So it'd be really nice to be able to have a route like this where you run 100 some odd miles in something that's not too traffic density like this. Realistic levels, I mean, of course, not everything's warmed up as of yet, but it takes about 8 hours for this territory to warm up, and then with the random variation and all that other stuff comes in, you can see the trains that are coming, you know, at the 7 o'clocks. So they run about one every 2 hours as a train, unlike the transcons that run one every 10 to 15, 20 minutes. So this is a lot less, you know, you can see a lot of intermodal traffic being set up there. 12. I mean, from 3:39 on, you're looking at, yeah, you're looking at about 1 an hour now. So it's not too bad. And considering the amount of territory it has to cover, it's pretty good. So, but anyways, I'm losing my wind. Do I want to go to 7 o'clock on here? Call it the night. Yeah, there's not really much more to say about that. that's just how I'm gonna have to now. What happens is when it comes to the data, I'm not going to worry about this right now, but or the storm systems. Oh, dang it! Yeah, let me go here. I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean. So, get out of here. Of course, I live in this area. St. Catharines is my neck of the woods. I actually would love to do Niagara because I know this area really well. And I do have a territory for Niagara somewhere. But it's actually a fair size, not a fair size, there's an okay size yard in Port Robinson. Hamilton's got a really good yard over here too once you get outside it. So there's different ways of looking at it. When I was saying, see, there's Bala right there. So what happens is from Toronto, what we're modeling here comes up to Sudbury. And yeah, there's the railway tracks right there. See, here's the Bala sub, and that's those two there are the railway tracks. They do cross each other at some point. Blah blah blah. But yeah, Parry Sound. It's got the Parry Sound sub, and then you got MacTier right there. That's that crew change point I was talking about. Bala, you can recognize the various locations there. They come down here on the other side of Barrie. Barrie Collingwood line runs this way. So it all comes down to Toronto. And then this whole area is just the beginning. I think it's up here. I'm just trying to think. Vaughan. Yeah, Vaughan. That's the intermodal terminal. So that's basically what we're looking at here. Yeah, so I didn't get much as far as the data, but at least the brainstorming has begun. I'm kind of looking at the various concepts of how I want to do things. So it's a good start. So this guy's doing his crew change. Well, he's supposed to arrive any minute, but so let me just start off this, and I'll end the night here. So 7 o'clock, he's supposed to go all the way to TN, which isn't much. Oh yeah, he's going into Alliston. So, but he's got something else he's got to go to. Oh, TA11. These are the Alliston switchers, I think. That's right. So he stops and grabs some car. I forget how big he is. Oh, he's at 2760. He actually drops cars. So I guess he drops empties and then he puts some more in or something. I think that's how it works, or at least that's how I envisioned it. Where do I have him going to? I think it's Spence. Yep, okay. Just want to make sure I got the right setup going here. I don't even know if well, that's 41 miles, you know what. Here. Let's just get him to here first before I get too carried away. 752 is the next one. Okay. So he stopped. He's not expected to leave until 6:47. or 657 I should say, so that'll take him up to about 96. There we go. Get him the Medante. He's probably going to go 30 miles. Yeah, good enough. So yeah, still only, well, he's going to be 4 trains on the territory but in a minute, but you figure at this point, like looking at 2 hours, then it's not too bad. And like I said again, I mean, this is something. If I wasn't to do Niagara, if I had the editors for Run 8, if I wasn't to do Niagara, this is something I would consider doing, just because I have the data and I've done it before. Although honestly, I would do Niagara. I would do Niagara. Niagara's even smaller than this. Like Niagara, for example, for CN, there's like 3 trains in the morning. Yeah, 3 freight trains in the morning, 2 coming out of Port Robinson, 1 coming into Port Robinson from back and forth to Toronto and Sarnia. There's like a passenger, that's like around 8-9 o'clock in the morning. There's a passenger that pops through Niagara around 10 o'clock or so, out of goes through Niagara, and by 10 o'clock it actually crosses 10:30. Just after 10:30 it crosses over to Niagara Falls, New York. So that's CN side. After that, I'm not sure. It's a little bit of a mixed bowl now because things have changed a little bit, but there's not really too much. There's a short line that runs through Niagara as well, and then CP is, I have no idea what's going on with CP these days, to be honest. So, like I said before, you can have this huge lull and then it picks up again, which is really ironic when you think about it, because you think, well, most people in the East may not be around between the 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. hours because they're working. So you have those stuff that's available in the morning. It may or may not go depending upon demand. Then it becomes a demand thing. But at the same time, you have servers that are getting 14 people, so maybe it's not busy enough, or it needs to be busier. If you were to take this at these traffic levels, and then you add Romford, and then you add the Montreal section, including Sudbury, suddenly I think you have enough that should satisfy, maybe not everything at once, but at least the average is there. And if you have a crew that's available for another train, you might be able to get away with holding off an AI only if a player isn't available.
Train stopped, awaiting signal.
He's still. I was like, what? But yeah, just like, that's the first time somebody's waiting for a clearance to get out, but he'll come on territory at 7 o'clock. But anyways, guys, I'm losing my voice, all that talking. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. If you want to see more, I should be able to go through the data. I think I know where I'm going to be heading as far as the data. What I'll do is I'll do portal information and a source train for off portal areas, and then I will work on the various industries of the various lines and get it going, get some of the prototypes going. I am gonna work off MacTier. I'm almost certain of it. Since I have the data here, I have everything that I need. I don't have to go like Niagara. I'd have to do a tiny bit more research again just to see what's there, or depend what error I do, because a lot has changed in Niagara, especially with the way jobs are, or the economy, and you know what, manufacturing shutting down. Like I said earlier, like Lubrizol, that's no longer there. There's not much in Niagara Falls at all, to be quite honest. Yeah, a lot has changed over the years, so trying to go with a data subset like 2006 isn't too bad. And the good thing about TD3, or not TD3, RTS, is I don't have to worry too much about specific eras and engines, because I'm not really getting into the specific engine types. The engines are going to be very generic looking. And so are the cars. It's all about the operations, the yardmaster operations.
Train arrived at one territory.
Possibly definitely the horsepower of the engines to simulate AI. But generally, the whole idea is to be a yardmaster, be a dispatcher, and let the railroad go, and then you run it all day. You come home at night if you want to work a yard. It might be available to you. You can set settings so that a particular yard becomes available to you. Multiplayer, certainly a possibility the bigger the network gets, but in reality, for a the difference between RTS and a Run 8, for example, is it's not really as labor intensive, because there's so much AI going around. So that's going to be the difference, I think. But then again, I'm starting small scale anyways, so that I can do the whole thing if necessary, but I can also AI the whole thing. So that's the whole idea. So anyways, let me know what you think, and we'll just keep going. And once I get up to the coding stage, then you won't be seeing YouTube videos for a while, because I'm gonna have to get busy with the coding, and the next time after that, that's not going to happen till the fall, though. I'm almost certain. It's going to take me about a good few weeks to get this all figured out. But at least I'm moving in the right direction, even though I look like I'm playing here. But hopefully that makes sense, and I'll do a little bit of data analysis of the various things while I'm running this next time around, probably Wednesday. So okay, so I got the new save up there, and we're all set. So okay guys, thanks for joining me, and yeah, I don't know if I'll be around tomorrow night. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to do. I won't have too much time since I got the kiddo till 9. So but anyways, have a good night guys, and I will see. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you Wednesday. Talk to you later.